I know, it's a long title, but here's the good thing. It has a short answer. Yes, you can, but you shouldn't. For the context of why this question is even being asked in the first place, there was an interview with Alan Costa and Adam Johnson from NISA about the upcoming localization of Trails of Cold Steel 3. In that interview, Costa basically states that Trails of Cold Steel 3 is a great jumping on point for newcomers to the series because there was a time jump between the end of Cold Steel 2 and Cold Steel 3. It really takes a lot not to sound exasperated by this logic, but I'll do my best, weary sighs aside. For those who don't know the Trails series, I will try to do a quick summary. The Trails series is a long-arcing set of JRPGs developed by Nihon Falcom. They take place on the continent of Zemuria, and there have been 9 main series games released so far. The first arc of 3 games, Trails in the Sky, takes place in the country of Liberl. The second arc of 2 games is called the Crossbell arc, which takes place in the Crossbell state. The third arc consists of 4 games and covers the Erebonian Empire. The series is ongoing, with a 4th arc being planned out by Falcom possibly as I speak. Each game is interconnected in many ways, but there is enough distinction that they can be held up on their own merits. With a long-running, interconnected universe like this, if you skip over games, you're going to miss details. It has been compared to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is apt in some cases. However, the depth of the connections between the arcs is such that you will miss much more than the cameos, throwaway lines, and end credit scenes for a Marvel movie. You can still proceed without having played previous games though, and I'm an example of that since I have yet to play the Crossbell games due to their lack of localization, although that will change as soon as Geofront's fan localization is completed. My issue then with the comments in the interview isn't necessarily the idea of not playing prior games in the series. I understand for some that simply won't work, either due to not owning a particular console or lacking the language skills to tackle a JRPG in Japanese. No. My issue is the idea of jumping into the middle of the story of Erebonia in a game that is perhaps the second most interconnected game in the series after Trails of Cold Steel 4, and expecting people to be able to follow what's going on and have a good experience. I want as many people to enjoy this series as possible because it is among my favorite game series of all time, and if people jump into the series with Trails of Cold Steel 3, I firmly believe they will be more likely to have a bad time playing the games and give up on the Trails series entirely. To Costa's argument that the time skip makes starting with Trails of Cold Steel 3 acceptable, I'll ask if someone would be willing to start with Season 7 of Parks and Recreation. They also had a time skip, so it's a good time to jump into the show, right? No, because we don't know why we should care about the characters. We haven't experienced all the development that has led up to this point. The Cold Steel games are the exact same thing. Why should a new player care about the members of the old Class 7? Or about Randy or Tio from Crossbell, or Tita from Liberl? Some may argue that it's much easier to watch through a TV show like Parks and Recreation than to play through a series, especially across multiple platforms, and they are completely right. If you're one of those people, however, I would point out that the first Cold Steel game is on the PS4, the console Trails of Cold Steel 3 is coming out for, and the second game will be coming to the console in June, well before the third game releases in the fall. Unlike the third game, the first Cold Steel game is an actual jumping on point. You still miss out on a lot of deep, rich story prior to that, but the Erebonian world, especially for the first 2 games, stands well on its own. Ideally, of course, you'd play Trails in the Sky and the Crossbell games first, but it's at least understandable if that's not what you can/want to do. However, if your interest has been piqued by Trails of Cold Steel 3, you would be doing yourself a major disservice if you took Costa's advice and just jumped into the series. Try the first game in this Cold Steel arc, or better yet, Trails in the Sky, the first chapter, available on PSP and PC. If you play it and like it, great! Move on to the second game, or to the other arcs, and you'll be prepared to enjoy the third game when it comes out. If you didn't like Cold Steel, well, that happens. But I guarantee you, if you didn't like the first game of the arc, you will not like the third one. Do yourself a favor and don't listen to Alan Costa. If you want more information about Trails of Cold Steel games that have been localized or about Trails in the Sky, check out my videos about them on this channel. Before I go back to my regularly scheduled programming, I want to address the reason why anyone at NISA would be saying to jump in with Trails of Cold Steel 3. The prevailing theory is that because this is the first game in the series localized by NISA, all previous localized games were done by Xseed, they don't want to push players to another company's games. Now, thus far, I've actually been pleased with aspects of how NISA has handled Cold Steel 3. They brought in writers from Xseed to help the team out, returned most voice actors for the dub, and have shown general respect for the property. This move, however, is not respectful. If they cared about the story of these games, they would never give this advice. Now, this could be just one higher-up who doesn't speak for the team behind the localization, but it's still worrying. I'm not sure if the reason is because NISA doesn't own the rights to the prior games of the series, but if it is, that's a very short-sighted move to make. As I stated before, playing prior games in the series will help people have a better time playing Trails of Cold Steel 3, making it more likely that they would proceed to the next game in the series. However, if potential customers find out they don't like the series with the first game, then that's a lost sale for NISA. This is where the short-sightedness comes in though, because the assumption is that NISA will also be localizing the fourth game after completing the third game. The fourth game is where those sales of Cold Steel 3 by people ignorant of the wider series become hollow. I reckon quite a few of those people will never pick up a Trails game again, and that means a potentially lost sale not for Cold Steel 3, but for Cold Steel 4. If NISA really cares so little about the future of the series to put short-term gains above story cohesion, player enjoyment, and likely long-term profits, then that makes me worried about the future of the Trails series in the West. I sincerely hope that I'm overreacting, but trust in a games company needs to be earned, and NISA has not earned that yet. For now though, all we can do is sit back and watch, and try to combat any misinformation NISA or anyone else puts out about the Trails series. I hope this video was informative and helpful. If it was, please let me know by liking and commenting, and subscribe for more Trails content among other games. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to watch the new Cold Steel 3 trailer again because I'm loving the voices for the new characters. Have a great day, and happy gaming!